welcome to this second Spotlight channel, this Spotlight session at the UNIDO Conference on Women in Industry and Innovation. I'm your moderator. My name is Shahira Amin. I'm an independent journalist based in Cairo and a BMW Foundation responsible leader. In this session, we are spotlighting the journeys of two inspiring female role models. Just before I introduce them, Sana, stay with us for just a second, because before I introduce you, just a very quick word about who is a role model. And some people will tell you it's someone who's a good listener. Others would say it's someone who's empathetic, doesn't take herself too seriously, someone who thinks out of the box. Well, it's all of these and much more. If you're successful, could you have gotten where you are without a helping hand? Probably not. And young people starting their careers are often filled with self-doubt. They need reassurance, they need support, they need a helping hand. When they see someone who has shattered the glass ceiling, like the two women we have with us today, they think, I can do it too. Seeing is believing. People want to emulate success. It's contagious. Without further ado, let me introduce our first speaker, and she's someone who has been inspiring, motivating, and empowering women. And she's only 26 years old. Sana Afouaiz. For the past 5 years, she's been advising the United Nations, the European Commission, corporate institutions and organizations on gender issues. She's founder of Womenpreneur, an organization that aims to advance women's place in the entrepreneurial scene, technology, and science. And she's written a book called Invisible Women of the Middle East. We're not all invisible, Sana. We're here. Well, her organization already has a community of 10,000 across 20 countries. Sana, tell us about your journey. How did it all start?
Thank you so much, Shahira, for this very generous introduction. So should I start sharing my screen, or should I first start answering your questions?
No, go ahead with your talk.
All right, thank you so much. All right, hi everyone. I'm very delighted and happy to be among you today. I will start sharing my screen with you. Okay, just 1 minute. All right, so my name is Sana. I am director of Womenpreneur organization. So I would like to share with you a little bit about my journey. I would like you to take it as not an inspiration, but just as a woman who would like to share with you her journey. So I started my journey questioning two things, a boy and a girl. I think if there is anything that I have recognized since an early age, is the difference between what is a boy and what is a girl. And in general, people would like to refer to that difference to something we would call sex and gender. And in general, throughout my childhood, sex and gender had the same definition. But with time, what I understood is that gender is a cultural concept that has nothing to do with sex. Sex is a biological definition or determined whether you are a female or a male. However, gender has so many different elements that are in general cultural and social. And when we are talking about the female gender or the male gender, there are differences. There is the strength, there is the power, there is the domination that is usually referred to man, to the male, and weakness and soft and less, which is basically elements referred to women. So this is a picture of me at a very young age, looking at my aunt, my own aunt, who was 15 at the time when she got married. But what's interesting in this picture is that before she got married, she underwent a certain cultural practice, which is basically a woman who would check on her virginity. I was present in the room. I witnessed that whole scene. And for me, I was very shocked. At the time, I didn't understand what was happening, but something was wrong. So that was an interest for me to really understand how women are treated in my own society. So I went to read books of great thinkers like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, like Aristotle, like Plato, pictured in this picture. So basically, these great thinkers, they have something in common. Although they are revolutionary thinkers, they are revolutionary philosophers who have shifted our humanity and our civilization. They have shifted our ideas about our humanity. They have one thing in common, that all of them believe that women are less than men. Jean-Jacques Rousseau believed that education is important for both men and women. However, for women, it is important for them to be able to teach the children of their husbands. Now, philosophers did not stop to amuse me. Then I started reading about psychology and science. Here we have, on the left, we have the father of psychology, Freud, as you know, who has believed that women who wouldn't accept that their female organ are made to please men, they will end up being lesbians. And Charles Darwin, the genius behind the evolutionary idea, believes that women, in their biologies, it shows that they have less features than men. And he actually compared our human societies to chimpanzees and baboons. Now, for him, chimpanzees represent our humanity, our human systems. And chimpanzees in general are hierarchical, they are patriarchal. The male is the dominated in their societies. And basically, he believed that this is the ultimate example of our own humanity. So you would wonder why I would share with you all these pictures and all these important and interesting human ideas. This is just to show you that those ideas have shifted for centuries, for the whole history of Homo sapien. They have shifted the way we see women and men. And they have made us believe that there is this difference between men and women, and those differences are becoming the norm. We are starting to accepting them as if they are natural. And this starts from an early young age. For instance, I don't know if you can hear. Do you hear? Yes? You can see here. So basically, these ideas have been shifting our own concept and the way we see and perceive women from an early age. And this to show you how important it is for us to examine and to really do something about it. So for me, growing up in the south of Morocco, I had two options. Otherwise, I accept the misogyny and discrimination happening to women around my environment, or I rebel and I do something about it. And this is exactly how I started my journey. I started my journey with an idea that observing my environment is really the first step in order for me to change it. So I started my journey as a blogger, documenting the stories of women around the Middle East and North Africa. I also had the opportunity of traveling to 50 countries with different cultures and different traditions. And that helped me to really understand how different cultures and how different societies view and perceive women. I have written a book called The Invisible Women of the Middle East that basically tells the stories of women from the Arab Muslim world. Not that to call them invisible, of course, there are a lot of strong women in the region, furious women with strong beliefs and strong character, but also to show that there are a lot of invisible stories that we don't hear about, or sometimes we refuse to hear about. And actually, the book was calling for a revolution of ideas. The book was trying to say, this is the time for us to change and to examine our mindset before we go into darkest times. Now, on practical level, I created my organization called Womenpreneur Initiative, an organization that aims to empower women in economy, basically including women and put them in the heart of the tech ecosystem and the future industries in technology, innovation, and in general to change the way women are viewed in this society. So since 2016, we have reached and we empowered more than 10,000 women. We have implemented more than 30 projects, and we have reached different partners, as you can see here. And during times of crisis, we adapted our strategy and our work, and we still kept online and active with our community to inspire them and to really put them in the heart of what's happening in this crisis. As you know, women are excluded from the crisis, although they were the ones in the front line when the crisis started. So what are we going to do with this crisis? What is the future for women? So basically at the moment we are living in very difficult times with the technology revolution, with the digital revolution. The crisis has accelerated the impact of actually the job loss for men and women. The region has the highest level and number of youth unemployment in the entire world. So the crisis just accelerated this impact. Women now are left out with no jobs and they have to adapt to the crisis. And when we're looking now at the different jobs that are disappearing, in general, those are jobs that women are doing. The digital revolution is making it even worse. So COVID is not the first crisis or the last crisis that we are suffering from or will suffer from. In the next few years, we're going to have a serious discrimination in economy, in the job market. Women will be left out again and they will be marginalized. We are talking about technology that is creating new opportunities, but also challenges. And women across the globe, they are excluded from tech, whether in jobs, whether in education, whether in access to funds. And beside that, we have also the fact that women are not behind producing tech products. They are going to be victim of tech gender biases. I'll give you an example of Google. There is an engineer whose name is Domers, who actually said in a demo, he said that women are not in leadership in technology, not because of their capabilities comparing to other engineers, but because of their biology, it doesn't allow them to be in leadership positions in this kind of industries. So he is an engineer. He's the one behind the machine. He's the one who's creating these products. He's the one who's creating algorithms. And those algorithms explain or kind of reflect the understanding, the perspective of the humans. Because at the end, technology is a tool, but the tool is manipulated by humans. And humans have their own gender biases. They have their biases in general. And there is misogyny inside each one of us. And if we do not examine it and analyze it, unfortunately, we're going to reflect it in our attitude, in our products, in our thinking, in our teaching. So this shows you that what would be the future for women in the next 50 years? Are we going to have machines discriminating against women? Are we going to have artificial intelligence discriminating against women? Or would women use technology to change their history and write a new chapter of humanity? This is up to us. Now we're talking about crisis. Will crisis increase inequality or shape humanity for women? Now, I will give an example why women are always important in times of crisis. In Syria, for instance, in Libya, during the Arab Spring, there was, there were the two countries with quite critical situation after the Arab Spring. But the two countries before the Arab Spring, women did not have access to certain profession. It was just not part of the tradition of their customs at the time. But once the revolution happened and then it followed by a civil war, a lot of men have died and a lot of men have migrated to Europe or the West. And then women were left with, I'm sorry for my language, but with the shit. So they were the one in the front line, and they were for once at the time allowed to actually operate and exercise certain professions. So this shows you that actually in times of crisis, there is a challenge, but definitely there is also an opportunity. And I do believe that COVID is a call for women and for us all to really reshape and examine our humanity. It is now for us to sit and look at the roots of the evil. If we want to kill the evil, we should look at its roots, not its branches. It is the time to examine everything and put in place a better system, not only for women, but for everyone. Thank you for having me. Shahira, we don't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Thank you very much, Sana. Now we understand why she's so empowering and inspiring. Sana, there is something I must ask you. At the beginning of your talk, you spoke about virginity tests or checks for women that are about to get married. Is that still happening in Morocco today?
The virginity test, I think it's still happening, not only in Morocco, but in the rest of the region, depending on where you come from, which tribe, which region. I think it happens mostly in villages, in conservative environments. In the village where my family come from, I mean, we live in the city, so, but my family's member, they kind of live in a village where virginity is still very important. And there is always this tradition where you have to check on it, yeah.
All right, we were supposed to have been joined by Lisa.
Yes.
Oh, Lisa's here. Wonderful. Great. All right, let me introduce you, Lisa. Well, she is finally here. Lisa is from Italy and she's a tech enthusiast. She's also founder president of SheTech. And I will let you tell us more about it, Lisa.
Yes, thank you. I'm very honored to be here. So basically, SheTech is an association that helps women into technology and entrepreneurship. We start this kind of a journey in 2009, and then we developed the chapter in during this year. I can share my presentation. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. So for any of us sitting in this room this afternoon, this virtual room this afternoon, let's start with a question. Basically, what are the differences between women and men? Usually, this is my reaction when people in general think that being the president of a women or girl in tech community means that I can have the answer. So this is me. Done is better than perfect is my mantra, and I'm president of SheTech and partner investor manager of an early stage venture capital firm, Prana Ventures. And during my career, I always been passionate about technology, but also about people. And I'm also a mom of two beautiful daughters. The other question people usually ask to me and think that I have the answer is why so few women in tech? Sorry. I don't know. So unfortunately, I not know why there are so few women in the tech space. And if I know this kind of answer, probably I have solved all the problem related to the, not only, the economy side, but also related all, to all the bias on the technology. So this is the challenge and the mission, and why with my friend and now with my team, I started my association, SheTech. So the question that we would like to answer with our community is, have you ever wondered how can you be a change agent in order to make the industry more open to women and more diverse in general? And this is the answer that we try to apply every day with SheTech. Let's start with an assumption. Today we need to involve more men in this kind of issue, and like we are sort of dumbless in distress, waiting for our knight to arrive and save us. Here is the deal. The things aren't changing fast enough. Simply, there aren't enough women at the top to the lead, at the top of the leadership to create a meaningful change. We are not moving past the 30% mark, and there is even indication that we are regressing. The conversation about women in technology is everywhere, but there is not change. Since I think the statistic is relating in 10-year space. So the percentage of women working in the major tech company is remarkably around, as you can see, the 30%. But at the closer look and if you can see the breakdown in terms of leadership role in technical, so in leadership of technical roles, show that significantly fewer women are in position to make a significant influence to their company product development strategies, and also related to the previous speech, there are not enough women that basically can change the ethic behind the code that is written today. But it's interesting to see this episode that happened to me in the past. So I was with in a meeting with a CEO of the company that came from another Women in Tech event, and he said to me that you know, the problem with women. You know that the problem with women in tech is that there is no man in this conversation. And I went, he said to me that he went to this event, but there were only 3 men in all the conference. So in general, my answer is that, and this is a quote, the tech industry may have a problem with women, but women do not for sure have a problem with technology. And this is why at the beginning of my speech, you can see include women written in Python. So what we basically do with SheTech, three things: education, networking, and empowerment. Education, basically, we give access to women to free bootcamp on JavaScript, Ruby on Rails, in collaboration with GitHub, and Python and machine learning. The aim of this bootcamp is to give women more confidence to getting close to the tech. You have to think that also many engineering women came to this bootcamp because they don't feel confident to go to, I don't know, for instance, the meetup that usually programmers do during weekly or monthly, because they don't feel enough good to join this kind of community coding event. We also offer this bootcamp free for every kind of women that would like to know better what is coding. And on the other hand, we support women in networking, because networking, the network is an asset, but as a women, we don't start. So this is basically what is happening to me. We don't started our career thinking that network is an asset, but it is. And we support our female founders and also our community to make a networking and to access to venture capital, to companies in terms of business development, but also the other girls to know better the companies in tech that are in our network. And on the empowerment side, what we do basically is we empower women on soft skill. Okay, so we have a sort of women speaker program where we have a TED coach, and we select in our community girls and make this bootcamp in order then to give the chance to go to innovation panel as a speaker, because usually we are used to listen, not to speak during the conference. And we also have other program in the empowerment of the empowerment side of our company, related more on the digital skill. So basically, we reskill women, but our aim is to reskill also women in the digital field after, that are not so young, so basically that have over 50 years, because as you know, Italy, like Japan, are, countries that are very old, and we need also to reskill this kind of diversity in terms of age, not only in terms of gender. So this is SheTech, and we need the help of the men. I think so. So for these reasons, one of the KPI of our association is to involve more men this year in order to bring them into the problem, and we need that men care to this issue. We need that with us they would take action and create the change with us. This is an interesting episode that I can show you. Is with the Women Speaker program, we would like to replace another program that works in Australia, and basically where we ask men to not sit in the panel if there are not a diversity balance, not only gender balance. And unfortunately, not so many men answer yes. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Excellent.
listen to me.
Sevo, Lisa, thank you very much for that. That was wonderful. Two female role models, both working to promote women as innovators. And we've still got a very long way to go to achieve SDG number 5 of gender equity. But with change makers like Lisa and Sana, I'm sure we can get there quickly. Also, one thing that both women mentioned is that we need men on board to promote women in technology and in all different industries. I would have loved to ask you some questions, but I'm afraid our time is up. But this was very inspiring. Thank you very much for being with us, and many thanks to all of you for joining us on this session, the journeys of two female role models, one from the East, another from the West. Thank you.
Thank you, Shahira. Thank you for
Thank you.
For your moderation. Thank you for UNIDO for your great work.